Corner. I'm your host, Kevin Cunningham, coming to you live from West Palm Beach, Florida. We're going to be talking about multiple topics, some of the latest, hottest topics in the sport of boxing tonight. And welcome to the show. My producer, John, is in the building, doing a fantastic job as usual.
Little snafu in the beginning there, Kevin. Little technical
yeah.
difficulties on the new show, but welcome back to your new show in the studio here, dude.
Oh yeah. We had a few little difficulties, had us come on a little late, but we here now. We in the building now. So dealing with COVID-19. How you and the family doing, John?
We're doing okay, man. Everything's doing okay.
Everything's going good?
Yep. Going good. Yep. My son had it, but he's over it, so we moved on.
Okay. All right.
That's you got to do what you got to do. But he's fine. He's got a small child and a girlfriend, and they're both okay. Everything's cool. So I think it's all working out for us.
Great. Awesome. Glad.
What about you? How's your family?
Everybody's good, man. We're me and the wife, we laying pretty low and taking it easy, and I'm getting a lot of home cooked meals nowadays, so it ain't Corona hadn't been too bad to me so far, but other than that, miss being in the gym with my fighters. Sounds like we can go back to work. The governor just ruled that the professional athletes are basically considered essential services to the state of Florida. So they're he gave the green light, so we can ease our way back into the gym, and that's good. I mean, we've been shut down for a month now, so I'm pretty excited to.
I mean, what do you think is going to be the safe time for you to restart? I mean, like you personally, we forget what the governor says. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, as long as we take the necessary safety precautions, I think, we'll be okay. My gym is a private gym. It's only us. It's not a public gym where any and everybody can just show up and walk in, and so it's just me and my guys. So we'll ease back into the gym, but we'll continue to take the necessary precautions, staying, keeping hands washed, and it's not going to be a packed gym, so it's just going to be a few guys, and come in and get our workout in and take the proper necessary precautions, but at the same time still give the guys an opportunity to kind of keep themselves in some kind of shape.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a worse place for transmission of this virus than in a boxing gym with everything sweat and spit flying and everything. So you got to be safe because you don't want to get one of your superstars there sick.
Yeah. But there's other guys that have continued to. I've seen other guys in their gyms training on social media. So, like I said, my place is private, and it's not a bunch of guys. It's just a couple of guys that that basically gives them a private place to come and keep themselves in some kind of shape while we're going through this whole thing.
It is remarkably quiet there for being in downtown West Palm Beach. I mean, it's a very quiet street there that you're on. There's no traffic. It's really one of the most perfect locations I've seen for a gym. A little hot in there, it gets a little warm, but that's good.
But that's. I mean, you don't want to train in a cold gym. I mean, you especially trying to cut weight.
Yeah.
So it's perfect.
Yeah.
Every gym I've always been in has been a hot gym, so I wouldn't want to train in a gym that's cold. Or
and it doesn't get that cold in West Palm Beach. I mean, you got 1 month. I mean, I lived there for 30 years. You got a month of 70 degrees, and then it's back up to 80, 85.
So hopefully, we can get in there and just kind of keep the guys in some kind of shape, and they've been off for a month. Some guys that you give them a month off and they put on 35 pounds. So I mean, get these guys in there and let them shake loose a little bit. Nothing too serious, and with the state of Florida trying to get back to business, I mean, this may be the mecca of boxing in a little bit because, like I said, the governor's opened this thing back up, and it's I'm seeing where promoters like Bob Arum is saying he's looking to bring some shows to Florida. Florida might be the first, looking like Florida might be the first state to bring boxing back. So,
Look at
I know,
I mean, that could be a windfall for Florida if
Yeah.
that's the only place you can do boxing in the next 6 months. I mean, think about it.
I mean, the WWE, they did a show. What was it?
WrestleMania, WrestleMania 36.
Well, they do that. They went back last week and did WrestleMania. I mean, there's no fans, but I mean,
Yeah, but they got the pay-per-view dollars.
They
sold
put the
that thing
show
on. Yeah, man. Hey, look at it.
Yeah.
Pay-per-views, Hey, look at. There's not a better time for pay-per-view than right now. There ain't shit on. There is no sports.
Yeah. And I mean, and TV is where the real money is anyway.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of, unless it's a mega fight, most shows they don't sell great at the gate anyway. They giving away tickets to most of the average fights. But I mean, if you could get fights back on television, that would be great. I mean, and that's where the money comes from anyway, the networks. So hopefully we can stay safe and do things in a safe manner and get things back going. So
Yeah.
But what I want to do is I want to bring my co-host in for the night. He's a world-renowned trainer, former trainer to Mike Tyson. He's trained several world champions. Tony Tucker. Matter of fact, he's training heavyweight #1 WBA contender in the world right now. So bring in my co-host, Stacy McKinley.
What's up, Stacy? You there?
Yeah, I'm here. What's going on, man?
Well, at least the phone's working.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, you gonna Skype him in, John?
He's in. Can you hear him?
Yeah, I don't see him.
No, I can't. He's just on.
Okay.
He's on
I thought
audio
you was-
only, man. That's
Okay. I thought we were Skyping him
no,
in. So.
just audio.
What's up, Stacy?
Oh, man, just sitting in the gym, meditating. You know what I do every day, sit here meditating, thinking about what the governor has decided to do for professional sports and what he's going to do for boxing. Like I heard, like you were saying, it's going to be great for boxing. And the sooner we get this thing going, the better for all the athletes and the better for the state of Florida. And it's better for boxing and the state of Florida. So I'm just sitting here getting ready,
Okay. All right. Well, I know you in the gym. You live in the gym. You haven't left the gym for one day since the coronavirus started, have you, Stacy?
No, I'm in the gym 7 days a week. That's this is like my second home. I got everything sitting here. I got my ring. I got everything right here. And I got my little TV room in my office. And you come through occasionally. You know what it looks like. So I'm at home right here. This is where I love being. So I'm fine.
Yeah, I've been shut down for about a month now. Last week I was so bored I just got up and went by the gym and just had to go see the gym and smell the gym and just for something to do, and that was it though. Closed the gym back up, came back home, but I think we're gonna get back in there and do a little light working out and work our way back in gradually. But other than that, I mean, everybody's pretty much shut down, but it's a lot of social media action, a lot of social media now. So a lot of guys really wanting to get at each other since boxing's been shut down, and we got a few topics we want to talk about tonight. And one of the first interesting and intriguing matchups that I like, and they're talking back and forth with one another, that I would love to see this matchup, and that's between Gervonta Davis and Gary Russell. And Gary Russell came on his live on his social media page, and he had some stuff to say, and he's calling out Tank. He's been calling out Tank for a minute now. So John, cue up the piece on Gary Russell, and then we'll
You know
talk
what I'm saying?
about
Tank, what's up,
Hang on
y'all?
1 second.
Like, come see. Matter of fact, come see. You know what I'm saying? Tank, what's up, y'all? Like, come see. Matter of fact, come follow me. Let me show y'all something. I ain't stepped on this motherfucker yet. You gonna see something in a second. I'm gonna let y'all know this shit real. See what this bitch say. What that say? 43. 43?
Man, what's going on with you tonight, John? I mean,
Coming to 35. You know what I'm saying? Tank,
yeah,
what's
damn.
up, dog?
Yeah, it's playing. They can hear it, Kevin. You just couldn't hear it.
But we supposed to
Yeah.
be looking at this stuff, man.
Yeah, it's streaming. They were streaming at it. You just
Oh.
can't see
Oh.
it. Yeah, you can't see
Yeah,
it.
we-
Yeah, when I took Stacy out, I took the other feed out. Yeah. You want to see it? I'll put you. I can take me out. Yeah, hold on. I'll get it for you again. You can take a look at it.
You know what I'm saying? Tank, what's up, y'all? Like, come see. Matter of fact, come follow me. Let me show y'all something. I ain't stepped on this motherfucker yet. You gonna see something in a second. I'm gonna let y'all know this shit real. See what this bitch say. What that say? 43. 43?
143
Stop
pounds.
playing with me.
So I
I'm
guess he
coming
trying to
35.
bulk up a little
You know
bit.
what I'm saying? Tank, what's up, y'all? Like, come
I guess he trying to bulk up a little bit and come after the lightweight division. And look like he got his eyes on Gervonta Davis. I think that'll be a really, really interesting fight. I like that fight.
Are you still training him?
No, I'm not training. I'm not training Tank. I just trained him for the one fight. But I like that matchup. What you think about that matchup, Stacy?
I think it's a very it could be a very exciting fight, and one of the reasons I think it's exciting because you never know how Davis is coming in. I mean, you don't know if Tank's going to be ready for this fight. He's going to be half ready. How much weight he got to lose, and then how much weight he got to gain, and so you don't ever know where he's coming from. So it'll make a very interesting fight. The most interesting part is you may be sitting there watching television, you may be witnessing an upset. So you got to put a lot on your mind when you think about, is this guy going to be right? If the guy comes in right, it may be a different story, but we don't know. We don't know what Davis is coming to the fight now. We can't put our finger on it right now.
Yeah, I think from a skill set standpoint, Gary Russell has all the tools. I mean, he's quick. He's got quick hands. Got good footwork. Extremely high boxing IQ. I think it'd be a really interesting fight. I mean, but on the other hand, Gervonta Davis, Tank. You know, people don't really know how talented Tank is because he's knocking people out. He's getting rid of his opponents. I mean, yeah, he didn't look as spectacular as he normally looks in his last fight. But he's a very, very talented fighter. I mean, he's got good hand speed. I mean, everybody thinks about his power, but he's got a high boxing IQ. He's a southpaw with power, good footwork, good hand speed. So that would be a very interesting fight. That fight gets me more excited, even more so than Tank and Leo Santa Cruz. You know, I just think that fight is a little more interesting to me, and I'd like to see that fight happen.
Going to happen?
What you think, John?
Well, I personally, you know, John. Let me say this right quick. I know that Tank has a lot of skills. I know that Tank is a very durable fighter. I know that Tank is a good puncher with either hand. But all that's being said is it's what Tank's coming in the ring. I mean, is the real Tank the Tank that you won the title with? If that Tank coming in the ring, is a whole different ball game. Well, it's the Tank gonna come in the ring who just fought my guy Gamboa. So which Tank is coming in the ring? I don't care what his skill set is and what he is, but now you got this thing about he's labored as what Tank is going to show up. You know, Russell going to show up regardless. But is what Tank going to show up? So it makes it interesting to me from a professional part, but for a fan, fans think a little bit different. So, but I don't know. It's very hard to say. We got to see where Tank's head's at, and if his manager and his trainer basically, is he willing to bring in somebody to help like you, Kevin, that came in that can really help him out. He has to understand and work together, and he needs some help, and he needs a good team around him. But I don't know where that will go. I don't know where we're going with that. But right now, my whole thing is which Tank Davis is going to show up. What is Tank's going to do? I mean, is this a bust? There's a lot of busts in the world, so you never know. But I'm just waiting to see what happens in the training when it gets down to serious and the training start.
Hey, Kevin, what do you think is boxers are going to be off for a while. Do you think it's going to be a detriment to all these guys to wait 6-8 months and then just all of a sudden when the fights start happening again, do you think it's going to be a problem, or you think these guys, the hard-working guys are no problem. They stay in shape all year round, but do you think it's going to be a problem for some guys? I mean, I know Andy Ruiz is probably going to be 600 pounds by the time he gets back in.
Well, I think the industry, the sport as an industry has to come back, and they got to come back big. They can't come back with these little bullshit fights. They got to come back with real fights, because every sport is going to be, everybody's going to be looking to get back in there and getting content, and the networks are going to be looking for content, and you're going to be going up probably against the NBA, the NFL. So, I think boxing is going to have to come back with real fights.
Well, don't you think that boxing is a lot easier for boxing to come back? First of all, it's two guys and then a couple of trainers, so everybody could be tested. You can bring it back in that WWE arena with no people, and you can put it on pay-per-view. You can't do any of that with the NFL. You got to, even if you just took all the fans out of the NFL, you got to have 53 guys on each side, plus coaches and trainers. You got to have a couple hundred guys, and they're all in contact with each other. So everybody's got to be. It's a lot harder to put together football or any team sport than it is boxing. I think boxing is going to be the fastest back here and making the most money.
I agree, John. But I'm looking at it from a business standpoint and how the networks are going to be looking at things, because trust and believe, baseball, basketball, football, they're going to find a way to get back. And they're going to, even if you don't have the fans or whatnot, they're going to find a way to get back, and to get back on the boxing piece, boxing's got to come back with some great fights. I see this being an opportunity for boxing too, because like you just said, John, boxing has a chance to be one of the first major sports back from this pandemic. And I think they could really make a big splash based off the type of fights that are being made. So if they're making the right fights, the guys are being off. If the guys are off for 4, 5, 6 months, guys, this is the way they make their living. This is how they pay their bills. So they've been out of the ring for a while, so they haven't been earning any. Most of them hasn't been earning any income. So they're gonna be looking to make fights that make the money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So and
the other thing is you don't need a big giant stadium. The venue if you wanted to go promote a fight right now, Kevin. Shit, man, you could promote the damn thing inside of Camp Cunningham. And I'm not kidding you when I say that. We just need to get lights in there. You got a ring, dude. You don't need people, right? You need a referee and officials. That's all you need. You literally need 20 people inside that gym to do it, and you could do it inside your gym.
You're right, and like you said, with following the rules from the coronavirus, you're going to be real. There's going to be some real strict rules in terms of how many people's involved in the promotion and the production of whatever you're doing. So, like you said, you don't need nothing but I'm hearing a lot of rumors about promoters doing fights in a lot of television studios. So, you don't need a whole lot of room because you're not doing any type of gate. So
look at King. King could do it in his TV studio down there, and how many rings you got?
Stacy was just talking about that the other day. He was just talking about that.
Yes, Stacy, you've seen his Don King's studio in there. He's just storing stuff now, but that studio, that's the only curved wall studio in South Florida with all those TV stations. It's the only studio that's like that. You cleaned out that room, you could put a boxing ring and everything you needed in there because it's got $2 million worth of lights in there. I'll tell you that much. I know when we outfitted that thing back in '97, it's got lighting like nowhere else you ever seen. Better than a lighting truss. You know what I mean? And you're right next door, right? You're right up the street.
Yeah, Stacy's right down the street. Stacy, you there?
I think I lost. No, he's still there. Stacy, you there?
Maybe he went to use the restroom.
He's on. He's still connected. I still see him. But yeah, I mean that there's all kinds of possibilities for boxing. If all you need, I mean, what's the total you to actually do a fight, Kevin? You need a cut man, a corner man. You know what? Two guys in the corner, the boxer, three judges, 2 Florida officials, right? And then,
well,
I mean that's.
I mean, you're gonna need the doctors.
Okay, but the doctor and an ambulance. But I mean, 25 people tops.
You're gonna need inspectors. So
yeah,
you won't have a lot of people, but it's definitely doable. And looks like the state of Florida is ready to greenlight a lot of this stuff and get some of these events going down here in Florida.
Look at if he's a business guy, DeSantis. I mean, that it's a real opportunity to have to make some real money here real quickly. I mean, it could be big real quick.
Yeah, for sure. So so and then I just think that we got to come back as a sport with great fights. That's I think that's important. I think that's extremely important to come back to the sport with big fights, and that's going to be very, very important.
Yeah, I'm dialing Stacy back. I don't know if it looked like it was. I can't tell if it hung up or not, but.
Yeah, where's my man Stacy?
I don't know what happened to him. He having real phone problems today.
Yeah, maybe he wasn't charged up. Maybe he wasn't charged up and ready to go. Yeah, he having some issues, man. But anyway, now one of the main fights that I mean this next fight that we're going to talk about, everybody wants to see it and everybody's talking about it, but like I said, social media is buzzing since the coronavirus is shut down. It's like fights that people were talking about. It's like the fighters actually ready to get at it now since the coronavirus has kicked in and the sport's been taken away from them. Now it's like they ready to get at it. And this next fight that I'm talking about is Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, and both of these guys have been on their lives saying some interesting things about that matchup. And let's
okay, let me see
cue it up, John.
Yeah,
let's see what Errol Spence had to say.
Let me see if I can get
recently.
this right. Yeah, hang on.
I feel like I watched Terrence Crawford.
You think you'll wash him?
Yeah, I feel like I beat him. I'll punish him.
Would you be looking for a stoppage then, Errol? Is that what you're telling me, that you'd stop him? Or would you rather beat him up for 12 rounds?
Nah, definitely. If that guy, if the Russian dude, whoever he fought, could knock him down or to drop him, I definitely have a great chance of stopping him. I think he's been hurt by Gamboa too, so I definitely have a great chance of stopping him. I feel like I'll.
There you go.
Now that's what Earl had to say during his recent live. He went on live, and he's not only saying, John, he's not only saying that he'll beat Terrence, he's saying that he feels that he'll stop him. And I mean,
why does it feel like I've been waiting for this fight for like 10 years? I don't. It's just a feeling I have. I don't know how long it's been serious or not, but it just seems to me like that fight has been sitting around. How long have they really wanted to fight each other? I know they've been So both guys have been kind of pretty active, but
For at least the last year, it's really
it just seems
last-
like a
in
long
the
time.
last-
Every time I pick up
Yeah.
a boxing anything online, that those two guys are on everybody's mind.
Yeah, that fight's really heated up in the
Yeah,
last.
I think I got
year.
Stacy back here. Stacy, you back?
Yes, sir.
All
I'm
right.
here.
Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know why it disconnected or something, but we're just we're having bad luck with your phone today. But I think we got you back on.
God damn, Stacy, do you want to do you want to be on the show? Should I got me
said-
another co-host tonight, man? God
He
damn, man.
said,
What's
he
going
said
on
my
with you, man?
phone. It ain't my phone. My phone was connected up today. It was real fine.
Damn, man, the show started an hour late fooling around with you, man, and now here you is dropping off.
Ain't nothing wrong with my
and
phone. Ain't nothing wrong with my phone.
Huh?
You got it.
Yeah. All right, let's go. Let's rock and roll.
Yeah. But anyway, like I was saying, we just talked about Earl talking about that he believed that he would stop if he fights Terrence Crawford, or when he fights Terrence Crawford, he feels like he'll stop Terrence Crawford. So, I mean, that's a fight that everybody wants to see. I mean, that's a fight I would love to see. It's a pick'em fight. I mean, and
Is it realistic
let's-
for this
John-
year, if
John,
they can do
let's
it?
Cue up Terrence, and let's see what Terrence's response was to what Earl had to say, and then Stacy, we'll kick it around and talk about it.
Okay. here we go.
Okay.
He said that I'll wash Terrence Crawford. I feel I'll beat him, out punch him. What comes to your mind when you hear that?
Well, a lot of people said they was gonna do a lot of things to me, and then when it came down to it, none of those things that they actually said was gonna happen happened at the end of the day. So, me knowing myself, I'm not the type of person that's gonna entertain that stuff. I'm about showing you rather than telling you. He feels that way. He's entitled to feel that way. Just like, when I called him up and I told him I was going to beat his ass, I'm entitled to feel that way. But the only thing different than me and him, I mean it. Like when that fight happened, everybody's going to see a different side of Terrence Crawford that they really never seen before. And they're going to see a different side of Errol Spence as well, because I'm going to make him look like an ordinary fighter. At the end of the day, I'm going to win that fight.
He said that I'll wash Terrence Crawford.
All right, John. Woo-wee. Man, he say he gonna make Earl look ordinary. God damn. Woo. That's tough. That's tough. But I'm gonna say this. I mean, like I said, this is a pick'em fight, and man, I ain't got nothing but love for both of these dudes, man. These are two fighters in boxing that I really, really genuinely like, both of them.
This is a really good matchup. Like, this is one of those matchups that's coming, like, kind of, I don't know, maybe I'm just overhyping it now because I haven't seen great matchups here in the last couple of years, but that's as good a matchup as you've had in a lot. It's one of those every kind of 5-year, 10-year matchups, you think?
Yeah,
Those two guys
definitely,
both
for sure.
can bring it,
like
man.
I said, it's a pick'em fight. One minute I'm like, man, Terrence, Bud, so skillful and talented, and he's one of the few fighters since Floyd Mayweather that you can actually watch him make the adjustments to what's in. He's perfect at adjusting to what's in front of him. I've watched him for years, and he's perfect at making the proper adjustment to the opponent and what the opponent's doing. And then once he makes that adjustment, it's over. So and Floyd that's what Floyd was excellent at, making that adjustment. Once Floyd made that adjustment, it's like watching a pitcher shutout, because it's over. So with that being said, Earl, when I saw Earl, a lot of people didn't give Earl credit for the fight he had against Garcia, against Mikey. And that was one of the fights that impressed me most with Earl, because Mikey is one of the most technically sound fighters in the game. And I wanted to see how Earl would deal with Mikey's skill set. And Earl didn't fight Mikey as the bigger, stronger guy. Earl went out and showed you, I'm gonna show y'all, I'm gonna show y'all where I'm at from a skill set standpoint. He outskilled Mikey. He outboxed him, outskilled him. I mean, just massively for the first half of the fight. Come rounds 8, 9, 10, 11, then he stepped up and played the big man role and beat him up. But for the first 7, 8 rounds of that fight, he outskilled Mikey. And then he stepped up and beat him up as the bigger man. So I was extremely impressed with a guy with that type of skill. We all know Earl is a big welterweight, a strong welterweight, but I think Earl has mastered what I call power boxing. I mean, he's boxing with great skill set and using power with it. So, and that's hard to beat. That's really hard to beat. And so, like I said, man, this fight, it's gonna be a toss up, and these are the type of fights that the sports need. And but I tell you what, before they fight each other, I tell you two fights I like to see leading into this fight happening. I'd like to see Earl fight a guy like Danny Garcia, and I'd like to see Terrence fight a guy like Sean Porter, leading into to them fighting each other. And I think that'd be great. What you think, Stacy? Talk to me.
Well, you know, both fighters, like you were saying, are very, very skillful fighters. I really like Terrence. Terrence kind of remind me of a little bit of Pernell Whitaker. He kind of remind me a little bit of Hector Camacho. You got a lot of these. You got a lot of these qualities. He can move. He can think. He's not a big puncher, but he can put his shots together. But he's very, very intelligent. But on the other hand, I had Errol Spence show me where Errol Spence can do it all. If he got to fight inside, and he had to fight a power fight or fight inside, he can do it. If he got to box on the outside with lateral movement and using his mind and thinking and counter punching and boxing, he can do it. He's a complete fighter. And on top of that, he can punch. And he's very strong. Now, if the two was fighting a year ago, I had to go with I got to go with Errol Spence. I would have to because he's too strong for him, and he can box, and he know how to adjust. Now, everybody's saying, well, I'd like to see this fight. I'd like to see this fight. First, got to be some unanswered questions on Errol Spence because we got to know where he's at following this automobile accident that he had. Because there was a lot of trauma. There's a lot of trauma to this guy's body. A lot of trauma to his mind. If I could pretty much say, if he had a fight, a tune-up before he fought Crawford, then I can say, well, Errol is here and Errol is there. But we don't know where Errol is right now because he was traumatized in that fight. I mean, in that car accident. So who knows what's going to happen if he actually get into a real fight and get hit? They said, well, he's been training, he's been sparring, but sparring, we can dictate sparring. We can manage sparring to where our fighter is safe. But sparring in a real fight is different. So it's very hard for me to say that now to say that Errol Spence would definitely beat Crawford because we don't know where he's at. I don't know. He's been traumatized. If he get hit with a shot, is he going to go back? His mind going to go back to the accident? Is he going to see lightning? Is he going to hear thunder? We don't know yet. So the bottom line is it's very hard for me to pick a winner. And if I had to pick a winner, then I'm going to have to go with Crawford. But before, I would definitely go with Errol Spence.
I agree with you 1,000%, man. We definitely got to see Earl post car accident. We definitely got to.
What have you heard about him, Kevin? What's your inside scoop there on what his real condition is? Because I heard all kinds of stuff going on various Facebook pages.
You hear all kind of stuff, but he looks good. I saw him at the fights when I had Andre Durrell, he fought on the card with Tony Harrison and Charlo. So Earl was there, and I talked to him for a little bit. He looked good. He looked healthy. So, but all of that's neither here nor there. You still got to get in the ring, and that's why I'm saying I would love to see Earl fight like a Danny Garcia prior to taking a Crawford fight. And I mean, and if there's any answers that need to be answered, Danny's solid enough. He's going. If there's any chinks there in the armor, Danny's a solid enough fighter to find out. Will answer all those questions fighting a guy like Danny Garcia. You know, and I think Terrence Crawford needs a real fight with one of the real top name solid welterweights too prior to a Earl Spence fight. And Sean Porter did extremely well in the fight with Earl, and I think if Terrence could fight like a Sean Porter and get a win, and Earl fights like a Danny Garcia and beats Danny, I mean, if you think that the hype is on that fight now, they're going to be begging for that fight, and I think that fight will do the proper pay-per-view numbers that both guys are going to want it to do to get the money that they're going to want for that fight. So it's going to be interesting, and we just got to see what happens. And I mean, and like Stacy said, there are some questions that need to be answered because, I mean, that was a really, really bad accident. So we just
You think
gotta
that's
see
a big
what's
pay-per-view buy? You think that's $1 million buy fight? I mean, it
if
should
it's-
be, in
if
my
it's-
opinion, but
if it's billed, if the fight is billed properly, it could get to that point. I mean, $1 million, that's a tough number. I mean, but if it's billed properly, like I said, like with matches, Spence versus Garcia, uh, Crawford versus Porter, if those fights are promoted big time and they were promoted like these are lead-in fights to the mega fight, I think I'm not gonna say they'll do 1 million buys, but I mean if they could do 700,000, 750 or something like that, that'd be great.
yeah.
I think they could get to the type of money that they're looking for if they could do 750,000 buys with that fight. What
Yeah.
you think, Stacy?
Well, I think, like I say, people gonna come out, and then again, there's one thing I'm gonna have to, I'm gonna agree with you, and I'm gonna disagree with you on one thing, now, Kevin. We want to see what Earl can do and how much he has left, and what did this accident do anything to him or not. We want to see that. We want to see Crawford fight somebody else, but to take a good look at it, you got to be you talk about dollars and cents. This is a business also. You fool around there and put Errol Spence in a fight against Danny Garcia, and he end up looking bad, and you put Crawford in there against Sean Porter, end up looking bad. Now the numbers, your pay-per-view numbers is going to go down. They're definitely going to go down. So it's best to just go let them go on and fight, because it is a business and they want to try to make as much money as they can. So I don't. If I was a promoter and I was a manager, I wouldn't do a tune-up fight. I said, let's go, because we don't know. We don't know. I remember Muhammad Ali was getting ready to fight.
I mean, and the flip side to that is this. I mean, if they go right into the fight and say Terrence Crawford beats Earl, now
Right.
Terrence Crawford is not going to get the full credit, because people are going to say, oh, that wasn't the real Earl, because Earl was in that horrific accident, and he ain't the same. So really, you didn't beat the real Earl, blah, 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 blah. So I think Earl needs to get a fight with a solid opponent to show the world that he's still Earl. Now, I understand where you're coming from. You looking at it from a standpoint of cash in and cash in now. You know what I'm saying? Because you just don't know, you don't know what's going on. But
That's right.
I mean, you're looking at two guys. They if they were to make that fight straight out right now, the next fight, Spence Crawford, they're not gonna do 500,000 buys. That fight, because yes, we as boxing people look at them as great fighters, and we want to see the fight, this, that, the other, but neither one of those guys are really crossover fighters. You know, they still got some building to do. You know what I'm saying, in terms of raising their star level. So that's why I would think you would have to put, for one, you got to see what's going on with Earl, so you put him in a solid fight. And Terrence, you know, the knock on him is who has he beat in the welterweight division? So if you would do a fight with Terrence and somebody solid in the division like a Sean Porter or something like that, and you do Earl with a Danny, and those guys get past those tests, now you got a major mega pay-per-view on your hand. Outside of that, you don't have a major mega pay-per-view anyway. A lot of fighters think that they do these numbers and do this and do that and do that, but that's all hype in their own minds. I mean, until you start getting out there and actually selling out them arenas and doing them numbers on pay-per-view, until you actually do it, it's just something you think you can do.
But that's an age-old promoter issue that I watched there at DKP for many years, is to tune up or not to tune up. And Stacy can tell you the colossal failures that have happened with tune-ups that didn't go so well, leading up to what was supposed to be a major pay-per-view. Man, there were lots of those.
See, what the point I'm making, John, is what I just said. If you listen to what I just said, that's not a major pay-per-view right now.
No, I'm not. Understandable.
But if you got to get it to a point where it's a major pay-per-view. So really, you ain't.
How much does a tune-up do to make that a more major pay-per-view? The only thing that can happen when he fights Sean Porter or one of those other fights is something bad, because they
but
both.
It's not. But it's still not a major pay. If you do the fight, if you do the fight, and that fight does 300,000 buys, what have you lost? If you gotta prep that thing to where it can do over 500,000 buys, 750,000 buys, I don't think it does 1 million buys no matter what you do. Now.
It's too much of a boxing purist fight to get to 1 million buys. You got to have crossover guys with international appeal.
You can still get that fight somewhere around the 600,000-700,000 buys if these guys both take a fight. Earl's got to take a fight coming out of that car accident. Nobody's going to get excited and go crazy about this fight with Earl going right into that fight straight out of that accident.
Yeah, no network's putting up money for that.
We can sit here, Kevin and John, we sit and argue back and forth. But let me tell you about a little experience I had, and I understand it now a little better, because we're trainers. Kevin and I are trainers. We train. We want to win. It's about winning with us. We want to win. Sometimes we forget about we got to make some money, but it's about winning. Now, it's just like Mike Tyson. When Tyson got ready to fight Holyfield the first time.
See, I knew you was. Hold on, stop. See, but I knew you was gonna go there, Stacy. But ain't shit about what we talking about. Just like Mike Tyson. These dudes ain't even nowhere in that hemisphere in terms of popularity. So I know. Compare that.
What I'm talking about in terms of money.
Okay, go ahead.
What I'm talking about in terms of money. As a trainer, I said that they should postpone the fight for 4 to 6 weeks. That's what I said, for 4 to 6 weeks. But then they came back and told me, said, look, your job is go in there and train. Don't you get involved with all this. We're going to fight. Okay? Now, later on, I understand, because, hey, look, you're looking at a $300 million fight. You look at a $300 million fight, and you talking about don't fight. This fight got to go on. So
Stacey,
if the
but
fight
that's
doesn't go
my
on,
point, Stacey.
it
You
all
talking
comes
about
down. The bottom line gonna come down to the money. I understand what Kevin's saying. They're gonna try to build it, but they're gambling. Now,
Yeah,
Kevin,
but
I had a
you talking
conversation
about
about
apples and oranges. They
AJ
gotta-
and Wilder. Remember the conversation we had about AJ and Wilder? And I told you, I said, listen, they were saying, wait a year and a half, and it's going to build a pot. The money going to be big. I told you, I said, Kevin, both of these jokes going to get knocked out before a year in. And what happened?
did.
Both of them got
You did.
stopped.
You did.
So it's a hell of a situation, man.
But
It's a hell of a situation.
Stacey.
Yeah.
Listen, man, we talking about Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford. You
Right?
talking about Mike Tyson and Holyfield, bruh.
Okay. No, what I was talking about is the gamble.
You talking about a fight that did damn near what, 2 million buys?
1.9998 million buys.
So you
Let me ask you a question, Kevin.
man.
Kevin, let me ask you a question. Let's say Terrence Crawford go in there and fight Danny Garcia. Okay? Let's say he go in there and fight and get knocked out in 2 rounds. What you gonna do then?
But listen, let's say you make Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford next week. How many buys you think you gonna do with that fight?
You ain't gonna do no million buys.
You ain't going nowhere near no million buys. You ain't gonna do a 500,000 buys with that fight.
No, and if he gets knocked out, how many buys
the
they
hell are
gonna
you
do?
doing it on pay-per-view if you ain't doing no numbers? So you gotta build it to get to that point so you can do some numbers where it makes sense to do the business that you're talking about doing. They not there yet, man.
Well, I think you said something way more significant earlier, though, Kevin. The biggest thing in here is that Earl Spence got in that car accident, and there's all kinds of questions, and executives who might be putting up money from Showtime or one of these other guys, they want to know before they go plunk down a guarantee on this thing, that they want to see that this guy is the same dude he was before he flipped his car around there and wherever he lives, Dallas.
That and along with that, you got Terrence Crawford headlined one pay-per-view in his whole career. And you want to know what the numbers were? The numbers that were reported? Something like 70,000 buys when he fought Amir Khan. So, now, how can you compare? You comparing fighters that's doing crazy numbers and their popularity is crossover popularity. The casual fan is involved. These guys, they don't have that yet. The boxing purists, we all want to see this fight. We all know it's a great fight. We know Earl's a great fighter, Terrence a great fighter. We all want to see this fight. But Earl and Terrence, they want to get paid. And the numbers ain't there for them to get paid for this fight yet. So you can't say you mess around and fuck up the money by doing tune-ups, because they both still need some building to make that fight worth the worth that they think they worth for doing the fight. The money got to come from somewhere, and they got to produce the money. And in order to produce the money, they got to be promoted and built up to get to the point so they can produce that kind of money. That's what I'm saying, Stacey.
I understand it. Listen, I understand exactly what you're saying. And I will tell you this. If he go in there and ring on Danny Garcia, he ain't gonna get to Crawford.
But
I guarantee
tell you this, Stacey. If he was going in that ring with with Terrence Crawford right out the gate, straight out the accident, you'd be the first person saying he gonna get his ass beat coming straight out the accident and going into a fight against Terrence Crawford. You got Terrence Crawford.
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
You and thousands and millions of other people would be saying that I got Terrence Crawford in that fight. Earl coming straight out behind the accident, going into the fight with Terrence Crawford. I got Terrence Crawford.
Right.
So now,
Right.
ain't nobody all excited and crazy. And, it's not considered a pick 'em fight if everybody's going in and saying, well, we think, I don't think Earl is he hasn't proven that he's the Earl prior to the accident. So, we lean into even far as Vegas, far as betting odds. The odds with the betting odds would overly be slanted towards Terrence Crawford in that fight if Earl was to go straight into that fight. Do you agree, John?
Absolutely. I'm coming around to your thinking. You brought me back down. I was on Stacy's side first, but the more I think about those two guys, is looking at that previous fight there, Crawford, that Postal guy or whatever his name was, Victor Postal, that did 55,000 buys. 55,000 buys is,
but that wasn't a pay-per-view.
It wasn't? Why are they? Why?
Well, maybe that's Amir Khan. You pulling up the pay-per-view numbers?
Terrence Crawford had an HBO pay-per-view
I don't think that was a pay-per-view.
It says pay-per-view buy back in 2016 against Victor Postal. Postal was unbeaten.
No,
Crawford was.
No.
Says it sold 50.
Was that on pay-per-view? Him and Victor Postal?
55,000. It says.
No, I didn't know that. I didn't even know that was on pay-per-view. But hey,
yeah,
see, that's what I'm saying. 55,000. Pull up what he did. Can you get the number?
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now.
Amir Khan?
I'm looking it up right now. I'll tell you in a second here. When was that Amir Khan fight? Was that
That was in New York. It was an ESPN pay-per-view.
That was before the ESPN app, right?
I don't know.
I don't remember the pay-per-view. I don't think it was a pay-per-view, was it?
Yeah, it was. Him and Crawford Khan was pay-per-view.
Oh, okay. That's good. Now
You don't see anything on it,
I'll
John?
make a bet. I'll make a bet to you, Kevin. I'll make a bet to you, John. Okay? I'll make a bet. If those two going to fight, I guarantee you, won't either one of them get a tune-up. That's a bet.
Man, don't make that bet.
Yes, I am.
The man done already said he ain't fighting Terrence Crawford right out the gate.
I don't care what he say. I'll make the bet. I'll make you the bet that he ain't going to get no tune-up. I guarantee you that. It ain't going to happen. Remember
Then
I told
again,
you now.
you know what, Stacy? Listening,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the landscape of what's going on right now. You might be right because
I am right.
The networks and whatnot are looking or needing content so bad, they might put up more money just to do that fight right out the gate.
That's right. It makes
or
sense.
something like that. But I just don't. I don't see Terrence Crawford. I don't see Earl Spence going right into that fight. Mm-mm. You don't see anything on the pay-per-view numbers. You can't get nothing on it, John.
170,000 is the only. It's shifty. I remember this being debated on Facebook about a bunch of guys, but the last number that he actually reported was 170,000. But
from what fight?
I got it. Amir Khan. I'm just trying to look here, man. I remember this thing going back and forth and back and forth. I remember it was.
I don't know if they did no 170,000 buys.
Yeah, I don't think it did either. But that's the only number I can see right now. But I remember people quote, everybody expert on the shit quoting it. I remember that debate going. I can't remember what the final number was, and it's hard to find. I'm digging in the internet.
Even if they did 170,000 buys, what is that? Even if you did that,
it's not a lot of money.
Yeah. Where's the money coming from?
I see
a lot of money.
Bob Arum.
It's a lot of money.
Bob Arum quoted before the fight when he was promoting it, saying it was going to do 1 million buys.
Yeah,
that's what Arum said.
Bob will say anything that comes to. He'll just throw anything out there, man. He'll throw anything. But anyway, I just, like I said, I'd love to see them guys take some significant tune-ups and then go into that fight. And then if Earl is looking like the Earl that we know, the same old Earl, dominant Earl. Terrence, he looking sharp and skillful and dominant. I think the fight will do the numbers that they're looking for to get paid. But that's that, and we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on into to another topic, and we're gonna get on. We're gonna move on to the heavyweight division. Stacy, I know you're gonna have a lot to say about this because that's your division. You the heavyweight champ maker. Stacy specializes in heavyweights. So we're gonna talk about Deontay Wilder, and he was on the podcast last week. And John, cue it up. Let's listen to what he had to say on this podcast last week.
Answer this question for me.
No, that's not it, John.
How many Hall of Famers?
John,
Hold
that's
on.
not it.
Hold on. You want the audio podcast? Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
You've had more time to reflect on what happened against Fury in your last fight. Any more thoughts on what went wrong tactically or in training camp, that kind of thing?
No, my training, everything that happened, it happened the last 15 minutes into the fight. There's a lot of things that went on, It's a lot of things that I don't even want to talk about at this moment in time. I'm still reflecting on certain things, and I can't believe the things that happened. It happened to me, and it happened to me at that point in time in my career. Maybe I'll come out with some things later on, as things unfold, as I get into camp and stuff like that. But certain things I don't want to talk about at this moment in time. I'm still reflecting on it and trying to figure some things out. So even when I took off my mask and the things that I was doing, I've been in this sport for a very long time. People have seen me fight, all over the world for a very long time. So people automatically knows, how I am and, how I should look. And people that know boxing know that wasn't Deontay Wilder that night. I was a zombie that night. It was something, like I said, I can't talk about a lot of things, but it wasn't Deontay Wilder that night. You can tell from the mask, from my reaction to certain things that I was doing in the ring. You can look from the first fight into the second fight, and you can tell it was two different people.
Were you surprised at how aggressive Fury was in the rematch?
No, I wasn't surprised. And I couldn't really. It's hard to explain. Like the first sound of the bell is like I was more in retreat mode. It's like I wasn't even there for real. Like I don't know how to say it without. It was just I wasn't there.
Gotcha.
That's all I can tell you. I wasn't there from the first start. I wasn't there.
Yeah. Have you considered adding any extra voices to your team or listening to what those guys have been saying?
Yeah, we've been having a lot of people reach out and different things and whatnot, But I am looking to bring someone in for sure. We don't have it down yet, but I'm definitely going to bring. I got two people I'm bringing in.
Now, George Foreman says you guys had a pretty good conversation recently. Can you share what you guys spoke about?
Yeah, man, George. It was good talking to George. Once everything clears up or whatever, I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna come out and go see George and see him face to face, spend some time with him, and just intake some of that good old knowledge that he have up there.
You've had more time to reflect.
That's it. Okay. That's it. So, yeah, that was interesting. There was several interesting things I heard in that on that podcast. And Stacy, what was puzzling to me is, there's been, and don't get me wrong, I'm a Deontay Wilder. I support him. I'm rooting for him. I was rooting for him in the first fight. I'll be rooting for him in the rematch. But I just think that you know, I guess his supporters and whatnot, and things of that nature. It's not a good look when you having all these excuses about why you lost and whatnot, because they've gone from the outfit to Fury's gloves, and now he's saying something was wrong, but he can't tell everybody what was wrong, and I'm like, what's up with that? That was puzzling when I heard that. What you think about that, Stacey?
Well, yeah, there was something wrong. There was something wrong at the beginning of the fight. There was something wrong at the beginning of the training camp. The thing that was wrong is you ain't got no help. The wrong thing is you didn't listen to people, and you didn't bring in somebody that knows boxing, heavyweight boxing. You needed some help. You should have realized that from the first fight. So yeah, everything gonna be wrong on fight night. Once you step in the ring and that bell ring, you look over and see this big guy coming towards you with no fear. Now you got to fight, but you ain't ready to fight. You're not psychologically ready to fight. You're not technically ready to fight. You're not. You know you're not ready. Condition-wise, you're in shape. Okay, you've been working out. You've been running. You've been doing all these things. But mentally, you're not mentally fit to fight this type of fight and try to win. So you come up with all these different excuses, and I got problems, and I got this, and when you're making all these excuses, you got to understand, you got to be strong enough to get past all of these things before you go in the ring. You got to listen and be strong enough, okay? But the next time around, I hope you learn from it. I heard him say something about he's gonna bring in a couple more people, so now you're looking at about 4 different trainers. But you got to understand, now you done build a bowl of soup. This ain't a bowl of soup. Everybody can't dip. You got soup. Everybody can dip. You got 4 trainers. That's too many cooks in the kitchen. So now you got a bowl of soup. Now what's going to happen? There's going to be nothing but mass confusion. That's all it's going to be, mass confusion. So you haven't learned anything. And talking to George Foreman, the only thing you can get from George Foreman is George Foreman can fight for you. He can't fight for you. You need somebody with you every day, technically working with him and putting his skills and techniques together the way God built his body. Long, slender boxer. That's what he needs. That's what I hear that he needs.
Yeah, because it's just to me it sounds like there's a lot of confusion there, and mentally he sounds like he's confused about how to regroup and gather himself and so he can come back and be victorious when he does come back. It just sounds like there's a lot of confusion there, and he's saying I can't tell everybody what was wrong right now, but I eventually I'm like, it's either this, that, and the third. This is what it was. I know what I need to do to correct it, and me and my team gonna get together, and if I need to make some changes, I'm gonna be making those changes with some people that I think that can help me, and we're gonna regroup and come back and be victorious. Simple as that. All this stuff about I can't tell y'all right now, and that's just when you hear that kind of stuff coming from a fighter, you mentally, there's something going on there mentally to me.
Yeah, the kid need help, man. He needs a lot of help. That's what he needs. He needs a lot of psychological help. He need to see Dr. Lenny Moore. He need a hypnotist, somebody to go into his mind, hypnotize him, get all this garbage out of his head, get him straightened out. Now, the bottom line is this: do you want to fight, or you don't want to fight? You got to make your mind up. If you want to fight, then you better get you some help and get your head together and get all this other stuff off of your mind, because you can't go in that ring all confused like that against this boy. I can tell you that right now. So you got to make up your mind. Look, I want to fight. And if you don't want to fight, then don't fight. But you better get yourself together, and all this confusion ain't going to get you one thing, and that's knocked out again. That's what's going to happen. So you got to get yourself together. You need to get a one-on-one trainer, bring some guy in, work with that guy, go to the gym with that guy by himself, work with that guy for a while, and see if he's learning anything, and pick up the techniques that the guy is showing him, and then reiterate his other kid fighters, other trainers in the program, and make sure everybody sit down and work together, because working together works. But all this confusion about a lot of stuff went on outside of, hey, look, you name yourself among the great fighters You're talking about you fight Mike Tyson and all this type of stuff. You got to be mentally strong to be a fighter. You got to be able to handle controversy like Ali, Tyson. All them guys handle a whole lot of stuff. If you can't handle that, then it's time you get on out of that boxing ring. Because it's coming.
Because
it's coming.
And you got a point there, Stacy, because prior to the fight, I mean, he was being considered amongst the all-time greats, and he even kind of said some things that kind of questioned Mike Tyson's legacy, and I thought that was a little odd, for Deontay Wilder to even go there. Just stay focused. You really starting to hit your stride. Stay focused. Keep knocking these people out, and but he kind of went there. And matter of fact, we got something on something that was real interesting that I saw. Cue it up, John.
Okay, hang on one second.
Answer this question for me. How many Hall of Famers, fighters, did Mike Tyson actually fight?
Let's see if somebody know the answer.
How many Hall of Famers did Mike Tyson actually fight? And don't bring up no motherfucking Michael Spinks that came from a light heavyweight to heavyweight that was fucking terrified out of his motherfucking boots. And don't bring up Larry Holmes because we already know Larry was way past his prime. Answer this question for me.
All right. Okay. All right. Stacy, talk to me, man. You heard what the man said. Talk to me. You trained Mike Tyson. So I mean, there's nobody that I know of in the sport of boxing that could speak to something like that and respond to something like that. Nobody better qualified than you. So talk to me.
Well, Kevin, this is the bottom line. We just said it a minute ago. This guy is very, very, very confused. Okay, he's very confused. I like Deontay Wilder. I think he can come back and be one hell of a fighter. But his mind has to get right. I mean, he started talking about Mike Tyson Hall of Famers and this type of thing. What he has to understand is this: Mike Tyson could have been heavyweight champion of the world at 19 years old. You understand? Mike Tyson was knocking out grown men when he was 17 years old. I know him from the amateurs. Okay, Mike Tyson. The reason why he didn't fight for the title at 19 because they said they didn't think he'd handle all of the pressure outside of the boxing ring. So you can't go and start comparing yourself to a Hall of Famers because you listen, man. If you be the world champion, because you're a Hall of Famer, don't mean that you're the greatest, one of the greatest fighters ever lived. It means you're a Hall of Famer. You have great accomplishment. If that's the case, then Sylvester Stallone ain't never threw a punch, but he's in the boxing Hall of Fame. So being in the Hall of Fame doesn't make you a great fighter because Mike Tyson ain't beat a lot of Hall of Famers. But if you talk to the boxing experts, you want to classify Tyson, you got to start with Ali, Joe Louis, and then Tyson. That's So what you do is, and Mike got a lot of respect for Deontay Wilder. He got a great deal of respect because he said, I'm not going to say anything about it because I'm going to respect him as the champion. So, and technically, let me tell you something, man. Technically, you draw your arm back, throwing them punches from down all the way down south. You drawing back. If you draw your arm back on Mike Tyson, you ain't gonna get him back. He's too fast. His punch is too short. You can't hit him. You won't be able to touch with them wild punches. You got to be a smart, good boxer. So basically, it tells me that this guy's mind is he's really floating. Why is he trying to judge Mike Tyson? Even Muhammad Ali said, I'd have beat Tyson, but I had a hard fight. I end up saying the fight go to distance, Ali win. If the fight is stopped, it's on Tyson. You look at you make the judgment between Ali and Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier only had one hand, that's the left hook. Tyson had both hands, young and hard to hit. So Wilder don't understand. He's never been in the ring with a guy that breaks bones, to try to crack your ribs, try to crack your skull. You heard him say, I want to hit you with an uppercut under your nose and push your nose bone up in your brain. This man trying to kill you, man. You never faced anything like this, so watch what you say.
People don't realize, Stacy, how fast Mike Tyson's hands were with that power, and how quick his feet was. He would shift into different angles and hit you with them fast, powerful punches. I mean, he had the head movement early on in his career. He was moving his head really good, and Mike was tough, man. Mike was tough.
When you consider, you sit down and think. Now, we're talking about a 20-year-old Mike Tyson. The 20-year-old Mike Tyson was a beast. Don't you understand that? He's a phenomenon. He's God sent. He's unusual. He's mentally strong. He's unusually fast. He got hell of a punches. His skill level is so high. It's unbelievable. And his mind was to seek and destroy. That was his mindset, was to seek and destroy. And that's what he was doing. Now, you had to fight a lot of these guys that beat Mike later on in his career. The 20-year-old Mike Tyson would have killed him. So that you just can't sit there and say things like Deontay Wilder saying, because boxing people started looking at you like, hey, maybe you really need to sit down and get your head together. And I like this Alabama. I'm from Mississippi originally. So he right down the street. My granddaddy used to go down and whoop his granddaddy all the time from Mississippi and Alabama back to back. I told him that before. But this kid right here, he needs some help. Psychologically, technically, he needs some help. And if he ain't going to get the help, stay out that boxing ring against Fury. Because you don't, you're going to get hurt. All there is to it.
So you don't see him winning that rematch, Stacy?
You don't get knocked out. I just told you have to get him some help. He need a lot of help, man. First of all, you got to work on his defense. How do I get away from Fury's jab? How can I block his jab? How can I knock his jab down? How can I slip his jab? How can I slip his right hand? How can I react to that movement, that quick shuffle? He got that old quick movement like Jersey Joe Walcott. He got that Walcott shaking bake on top.
That herky-jerky.
Huh?
That herky-jerky.
Yeah. You got that herky-jerky. How you going to keep up with that herky-jerky? And there's a guy else. Now listen, the guys, they say 6'9", but when he's in the ring, he's 7 feet tall. But when he gets up on the balls, his toes, he jumps up another inch or two. The boy's 7 feet tall, 270 pounds, coming forward boxing. And they ain't scared of nothing. Get all that rhythm. I don't know where he got that rhythm from, but he got all that rhythm. And hey, I said it. I said the first fight that he would beat Wilder. I predicted the second fight that he would beat him until he weighed in. And I said, well, there's a lot of weight doing that herky-jerky. It may make things different. I had a 50-50. But when he came out with the Detroit style of boxing, I said, uh-oh. In the first round, I knew right then we got a problem, because I knew that Dante can't back up. Now, if he can't back up and fight, how you going to keep Mike Tyson open? What are you going to keep him open with? Run to the ring and rope a dope and get your ribs broke. Like I had him do. We fought Andrew Galata in Detroit. I said, Mike, if you don't break something, you got to break some bones. Like Joe, you in Detroit fight. Joe Louis will break bones. You had to break bones in this fight. If don't, you ain't won the fight. He fractured 3 ribs and 2 vertebrae in his neck. Watch the fight. You watch the fight. That's what he did to that boy. You talking about somebody hurt you, man, so stop. Stop putting yourself out there like that. Concentrate on Fury and getting yourself together. That's all you got to do. Don't worry about Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Don't be disrespectful.
Yeah, I think Wilder got a chance to get it together, but he got to go regroup mentally, spiritually, and physically, and like you said, he got to get the right help. He can go get any help, but if it ain't the right help, it don't mean nothing. So he got to go get the right help that can help him.
Is he too old? Is he too old to fix or not? He's not that old a guy.
No, but I mean, he could get somebody that can help him to take his attributes that he does well and his build and his style of fighting and build on that and help him, refine that and help him really polish that, and he could be a sharper fighter with what it is that he does best. He's out there.
Especially getting ready to fight Fury.
Listen,
did you see Fury fight Vladimir Klitschko? Klitschko hadn't lost a fight in 11 years. That beat 2 of my guys. Hadn't lost a fight in 11 years. That boy made him look like a baby child. Made him look like he wasn't supposed to be in the ring. This boy can fight for real. So you better get you some real help. He's a real fighter in boxing. And if he keeps fighting and keep winning, he's going to go down in history. He's going to the Hall of Fame. That's what you want to say. But I tell you what, you better get you some help.
Hey, Stacy, I agree.
Yeah.
He's going to be even more dangerous now because, Fury was more of a boxer, mover, slick, boxing in and out, around, using the jab, stealing you with the right hand, pat, in and out, real slippery. But now he went over there with Sugar Hill, and Sugar Hill done brought that walk you down behind that long jab to his game.
Yes, sir.
And now He got all of that going on with the slick boxing and all. Man, he could be. Hey, he gonna be even more dangerous. Hey, John, do we got the numbers up because we're gonna take some calls.
No, we can't. He's occupying the phone line that we were on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
There's been some people have been trying to call in, so I can't. The calls are bouncing off. Sorry about that.
Well, you can get me out there. Go and take them calls.
Yeah, we're gonna let it.
Well, they went to the voicemail or whatever. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, the other thing is very interesting. It's a lot to talk about, and it's like me and you, Kevin. People don't understand that you and I talk about boxing every day. Every day, simply talk about boxing. We live this every day. This is what we do. 24/7. This is our life. We've been knowing each other a long time, and that's why I come out. That's why I looked at you and I saw a difference in Tank Davis when he was training them. And the thing about it is this, man, and people don't understand. Everybody is good with certain fighters. Some people are good with all fighters. But it's like Kevin said, Stacey, you got a reputation with heavyweight. Kevin got a reputation with left-handers. Come on, man. Look at what he did with Corey Spinks. Look what he did too with
Devin.
This other kid, Devin Alexander. Took him from little babies all the way to the championship. Southpaws. I had southpaws too. I had Michael Dunn. I had Manny Galloway worked with Michael Moore when he won his first fight. But still, if I said who was the best southpaw, man, it's Kevin Cunningham. But they don't want to deal with the best because they don't want to put the work in. It's all about work. They don't want to put the work in, and they're going to come up short. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, and if you come down and messing with me, we're going to put that work in. or
Yeah.
It's the wrong camp for you.
That's for sure.
Work in. This not the camp for you. So,
It might be Palm
Yeah.
Beach, but it ain't a cruise. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, it's always good talking to you, Stacey. We're gonna be back next week. It was a great show. It took us a while from a technical standpoint to get up and running for tonight's show, but we worked out all the kinks tonight. So next week,
As soon as that catfish place open up, we gotta go get us some catfish and frog over there to talk boxing.
Oh yeah, we gotta go to our favorite spot. Spot. All right, Stacey, take me out of here, John.
Next week, right, Kev?
Next week,
7 p.m.
Yep.
Cunninghams Corner.com.